For years, the Kremlin relied on a war of attrition, betting that Russia's size and resources would outlast Ukraine and wear down Western support. But as 2026 begins, this strategy is unraveling. The war has become a contest of adaptation and technology, not just numbers. Russia is burning through its old Soviet stockpiles and manpower, while Ukraine is building a modern, Western-equipped military. Instead of breaking Ukraine, the war has forged a more resilient, technologically advanced nation, now backed by a robust coalition. Western aid has shifted from a trickle to a flood of advanced weaponry, fundamentally changing the battlefield. Russia's massed artillery and infantry tactics are outdated against Ukraine's high-tech, networked warfare. The Kremlin's assumption that time was on its side has backfired. The war of attrition is now draining Russia itself. Massive Russian air assaults in 2025 failed to break Ukraine and only accelerated Western support. Now, Russia faces a re-energized adversary, its own military and economy strained to the breaking point. The war of exhaustion has exhausted Russia, exposing the fragility of Putin's regime. The consequences of this failed gambit are about to become undeniable. A new era in Ukraine's air war begins with the arrival of Swedish Gripen fighter jets. Unlike previous upgrades, the Gripen, designed to counter Russian air power, brings a decisive edge. Its true power lies in the Meteor missile, a long-range, ramjet-powered weapon that outclasses anything Russia fields. Ukrainian pilots can now target Russian aircraft from far beyond enemy missile range, creating a no-fly zone for Russian jets. This aerial superiority will force Russian bombers and fighters to operate farther from the front, reducing their effectiveness. The psychological impact is profound. Russian pilots are now the hunted. With Sweden's support and plans for more jets, Ukraine's air force is transforming into a NATO standard force. For Russia, the sky is no longer safe. Ukraine now holds the decisive edge. Air combat is about information, seeing first, striking first. The Swedish Saab 340 AEW&C, a flying radar and command center, gives Ukraine this advantage. Its Eye radar tracks enemy aircraft, drones, and missiles over vast distances, providing real-time airspace awareness. Ukrainian pilots can now launch Meteor missiles with surprise, guided by the Saab's data, without revealing their own positions. The AEW&C's ability to detect low-flying threats makes it invaluable against Russian cruise missiles and drones. Early warning from the Saab 340 boosts Ukraine's air defense, increasing interception rates and protecting cities. It integrates Ukraine's air defense into a cohesive, responsive network. Russian air operations are now high-risk gambles, constantly under surveillance. The Saab 340 is the nerve center of Ukraine's smarter, deadlier air defense. On the ground, Ukraine is building a fortress in the sky. In 2026, a multi-layered air defense network, featuring U.S. Patriots and French SAMP-TNG systems, protects the nation. These systems intercept ballistic missiles and drones with unprecedented effectiveness, regularly achieving over 80% shoot-down rates. Russia's mass air attacks are now costly and largely ineffective. Each failed strike drains Russia's resources, turning the war of attrition against Moscow. This shield protects vital infrastructure, preserves Ukraine's new air assets, and saves civilian lives. The days of Russia terrorizing Ukrainian cities from the air are ending. Ukraine's Iron Dome is making the cost of Russia's air war unsustainable. The strategic calculus has shifted. Ukraine's airspace is becoming impenetrable. The war in the air is being decisively won by Ukraine. In 2026, Ukraine gains the ability to strike deep into Russia, ending years of asymmetric warfare. Western-supplied ERAM missiles and new domestic systems give Ukraine long-range precision strike power. Massed missile attacks now target Russian depots, command centers, and air bases far from the front. Ukraine's own FP-7 and FP-9 missiles extend this reach, threatening strategic sites even near Moscow. These strikes force Russia to disperse resources, disrupt logistics, and defend its own territory. The psychological and political impact is immense. Russia can no longer shield its war machine. The war is no longer just on Ukrainian soil. Ukraine is now hitting back at the source. The Kremlin's narrative of a distant special operation is shattered. Ukraine is delivering powerful counterpunches, changing the conflict's dynamics. As Ukraine's military grows stronger, Russia's is hollowing out. Record casualties and dwindling volunteers have forced Russia into desperate, coercive recruitment. Poorly motivated, undertrained soldiers fill the ranks, while financial incentives for service are being cut. Russia's Soviet-era equipment is depleted. Its industry can't replace losses fast enough. Troops are increasingly reliant on outdated, refurbished hardware, facing modern Ukrainian forces at a disadvantage. The Russian army is losing its best officers, modern gear, and will to fight. Mass infantry assaults achieve little and come at horrific cost. Russia's military is brittle, exhausted, and incapable of complex operations. The Kremlin's short-term attritional gains have mortgaged its military's future, and the bill is now due. 2026 marks the turning point. The balance of power shifts decisively to Ukraine. Russia's attrition strategy has failed against Ukraine's technological leap in Western support. Game-changing platforms like the Gripen, Meteor missiles, and Saab AEW&C have broken Russian air power. Dense air defenses and long-range strikes are dismantling Russia's ability to wage war. Internally, Russia faces a manpower crisis and a hollowed-out army. Every intercepted missile and successful Ukrainian strike weakens Russia's war effort. The cost of continuing the conflict now outweighs any gains for the Kremlin. The war will end on Ukraine's terms, driven by resilience, innovation, and a rearmed military.